My name is Kip, and I'm a park ranger here at Indiana Dunes National Park. I'm the outreach program coordinator here at the park. So that means I go out to different community groups, organizations, schools, things like that, and I talk to them about the park that's basically in their backyard and let them know about the different activities they can do, educational opportunities and recreational opportunities that they have. Indiana Dunes was established in 1966, and we're known for our diversity. We stretch from here in Gary all the way to Michigan City, about 23 miles, and in that compass we have lots of plants and animals, lots of different habitats, and we have scientists that come from around the world to study the diversity that we have here in the park. The diversity in our park comes from the fact that we sit on the southern shores of Lake Michigan, and so we get the flora and the fauna from the north, south, east, and west converging right here. And for hundreds, even thousands of years, we've had this diversity. The Native Americans, they lived here, the Potawatomi, Miamis, and others lived in this area and took advantage of that diversity so they could have their life here. And even today, like I said before, we have scientists that come from around the world and students that come and do studies about the biological diversity. Right now, I'm standing here in Miller Woods, which is an oak savanna ecosystem. And we have tall dunes and swales, and down in the bottom of the swales we have wildflowers, we have wetlands. So in that ecosystem itself, there's lots of diversity. We've got beaver population here, we've got deer, coyotes, and other animals as well. So we've got an active beaver lodge down here. You can see there's actually a goose sitting on top of it. And they do that every once in a while. You'll see a goose make a nest on top of the beaver lodge. So we're looking at beaver chews, and you can see we have active beaver lodge here. And the beaver come up to the shore, they walk up the side of the dune here out of the water, and they're girdling the tree. What they're trying to do is they're trying to kill that tree, fell the tree, and then they'll get to the smaller branches to help make their lodge. And of course they'll eat some of the wood. Usually the smaller branches is what they like to eat the most. It's more succulent for them, but they love to use that wood to make their lodges and to build dams. So very active in this area. Yeah, Indiana Dunes, I mean, if you're coming out as a family, what makes this area unique and just kind of outstanding is the fact that, you know, while you're staying here in a day or 2 day time period, you can kind of go to different ecosystems. You can be here in Miller Woods, like I said, which is a very unique oak savanna ecosystem, where you're going to see different flora and fauna. And then you can go into eastern deciduous forest, where it's going to be more enclosed, and you're going to see a totally different habitat. And then we have prairie. And then of course what most people think about when they think about Indiana Dunes is the beach. Out of the 2 million or so visitors that we get a year, most of them, they go to the beach and that's all they see, which is a very unique ecosystem in itself, but we have so much more. We've got trails that go along the Little Calumet River. We've got trails that, like I said, go through the prairie, so lots of different ecosystems that you can think of. We even have a bog. We have Pinhook Bog and Coles Bog, which actually is a fin. And so in those ecosystems, you can actually see insect-eating plants, which is very unique for Northwest Indiana. Who would have thought you'd see insect-eating plants like pitcher plants and sundews in Northwest Indiana? So the park manages this ecosystem with fire. And so part of our resource management team is our fire division, and they'll come out, they'll do what we call a prescribed burn. And so they're strategically burning parts of the woods to put nutrients back into the soil, to make sure that we're at less than 50% canopy cover, so this is maintained as an oak savanna ecosystem. If you get too much canopy cover, then the plants that traditionally will grow in an oak savanna can't grow here. So we were talking about that diversity and the plants, the flora that's here, and one of the most beautiful plants, or I think one of the most beautiful plants, is the lupine. Basically, the lupine is there to help the Carner blue butterfly. Unfortunately, because of climate change and other things, we don't have the Carner blue butterfly here anymore, but the Carner blue butterfly lays its eggs on lupine only. And so therefore we're managing this area so that the lupine can thrive and the Carner blue butterfly can make a comeback. This is the lupine, and you can see they've gone to flower here, and pretty soon, just like this one, it's going to seed. And once these seeds get really dark brown, they'll get a lot bigger than this. In fact, they'll get about this size here, or a little bit bigger than that even, and they turn dark brown, and they basically, you can even touch them and they'll explode, and that's how they spread their seeds. One of the real special things here in the park that we've noticed is throughout the years, as we've restored this area and as things have gotten better here in Northwest Indiana, bald eagles are starting to make a comeback. And so every year we see more and more bald eagles flying through the area, and some are actually nesting here in the Gary area. So that's really neat when you see a majestic bird like a bald eagle flying overhead when we were hiking the dunes or in Miller Woods here. So here in Miller Woods, it's really neat because it's kind of like a hiker's choice. So when you come, you can do the small short loops that we have. We have 2 shorter loops that take you around one of our ponds. And so you can do pond studies. You can see some of the macroinvertebrates that are in the pond. We have a little kit that you can take along with you, a backpack. And in that backpack, it's got information and stuff about the ponds and what's in the ponds. So you can do that on a short loop. But if you want to take a little bit longer hike, you actually hike all the way out to the lake. And so out to the lake and back is roughly 3 miles. And it's a really neat hike through Miller Woods, the wooded ecosystem there, and then it opens up into a lagoon, the Marquette Park Lagoon or Marquette Lagoon, and then goes out into the beach, so you're out on the sandy dunes and hiking up and down through the dunes as well till you get to the beach. Geographically, this area was formed about 14 or 15,000 years ago during what we call the Wisconsin Glacial Era, and that's basically when we right now would be sitting underneath a large chunk of ice, a glacier, that's about a mile high and about 3 states wide. And when that receded over time, over thousands of years, once that receded, the Great Lakes were formed. And those deposits, those glacial tills and glacial deposits, is what created the ecosystems and the structures that we have here today. So another thing that makes Indiana Dunes National Park so special for individuals and groups and families is the fact that we're a year-round destination. So you come here in the summertime, like I said, most of our visitation is in the summertime, so you've got the beaches, you've got the trails. A lot of people like to hang out on the beach. In the spring, you've got the wildflowers and the birding. In fact, birders from all over the world come here actually to do birding. As you move into the fall colors here, they almost rival the East Coast. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite times of year because as you're driving through the dunes and through the park itself, you see all these beautiful colors, fall colors that you see here. And then in the wintertime, recreational opportunities abound as well because we have great cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and people just like to get out and see the different tracks in the snow and get to see the park at a different time of season.